Welcome to Women Made Well. This podcast thing is so exciting but so different for me. I'm used to meeting people that I don't know just behind an exam door, introducing myself as Dr. Wood and getting right down to things with them. But there's something different about talking to a camera. That always puts me on edge, but I'm really excited to get into this. And today we're doing kind of more of a longer bit of an intro so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. I think that's a smart way to start off so that you can understand where I'm coming from. And hopefully that's a way for me to get to be able to benefit all you guys better. I am excited about a future of hopefully getting to know you guys better as well. So I'm the youngest of 6 children, and my father is an OBGYN. Yes, as a child, always wanted to be a doctor, but I was pretty convinced that I was not going to be an OBGYN. I actually, in the last year of med school, second to last year when you choose, I signed up to do neurology and had my whole fourth year of med school set up to become a neurologist until I did a surgery rotation. And then I realized that I had been just avoiding obstetrics and gynecology, and that actually was my true love. I needed to do surgery. I needed to be with mothers. I needed to take care of women. And ever since that change, I've never regretted it and loved every minute of it. After residency, I stayed with the residency program that I trained at, and I taught the residents and opened my own clinic and saw patients. And for 14 years, after my residency, I did prenatal care, I did deliveries, I did postpartum care, I did gynecology, I did surgery, and I loved all of it. My biggest problem was that I always spent a little bit too much time with my patients. I loved listening to them. I loved the fact that they would open up to me. I loved the fact that I could get to the roots of some of their problems by knowing just a little bit more about what was going on. Then I had my first baby, and I realized for the first time that not a lot of the things that I had learned helped me with actual postpartum. I realized that a lot of things that I had provided for patients kept them healthy during the pregnancy and helped them to have a healthy delivery, but I didn't think that I had been prepared for postpartum and that I had been preparing my patients for postpartum. So as I went through the experiences that I experienced, feeling helpless, feeling lonely, feeling trapped, any number of things, it changed the way that I provided care, especially when I went back and saw patients that I knew that I was comfortable saying things with, saying things to. And I would ask them leading questions about things that I had struggled with and found that they had struggled with the same things. And again, I realized that I was not the only person, and I realized that there was a huge misstep in the care that was being provided for women. And I really felt like there was something that I could do to change that, at least for my patients. And so it was at that point that I started changing the way I provided care. The incidence of postpartum depression is really high. It's about 10 to 20% of all women, and that includes postpartum anxiety too. And yet we aren't really trained as OBGYNs to really know how to care for it, even though that complication of pregnancy has a way higher incidence than some of the other significant complications in pregnancy. Like preeclampsia or preterm birth or gestational diabetes, which is on the rise now. But we're so good at caring for those things, but not, we aren't even prepared at all for helping these women transition to motherhood, something that isn't ever going to end, something they're going to do for the rest of their life. But we're really, really good at helping them through the pregnancy. So it was at that time that I changed the way I talked to women after I discharged them from the hospital. I asked questions. I prepped them for the most likely scenarios that they were going to face. And it was as I started doing that a few experiences as I got closer to my patients changed my course forever. I remember specifically a mother that I took care of through the whole pregnancy. Her and her husband and me had just a great time. our delivery outcome wasn't exactly what we wanted, but mom and baby were healthy. She ended up with a C-section, unfortunately. But I remember seeing her at her postpartum visit, and she told me point blank, really without any emotion, that she had no attachment to her child, had no bond with her baby, and really didn't want to take care of her. And I remember having the rug pulled out from under me. I wasn't prepared for that. This was a woman that I knew, well. I'd done all of her visits. I did the delivery. I did all her postpartum care. I rounded on her. I knew her and her husband well, and I was shocked. I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know what to do. This was different than the feelings I'd had. I realized that I didn't need to know exactly what to do right at that moment. What I needed to do was be there for her and be there for her family. Me and that patient worked closely together. I saw her every week for probably the next 2 to 3 months. And I saw I saw weekly progress until she changed, and she did connect with her baby, and she did start enjoying being a mother. And it was a slow process that we worked through together, and that I learned so much from. There was another experience with one of the residence patients. I covered the resident clinic. That's a training. I worked at a training facility, and as an attending, their residents see patients and they come check them out with you. And I remember a specific patient that she was of she was an Indian, of Indian ethnicity, and the resident presented to me that she did not want to take care of her child because her child was the color of her husband, who was also Indian, but the baby was darker like her husband and not lighter like her. And she didn't want to hold her, she didn't want to feed her, and she didn't want to take care of her. And the resident, just like my example, was kind of astonished and taken back and didn't know what to do. I remember meeting with this mother, and she knew that something was not right. She loved her husband, and she never had a problem with his color of skin before, but whenever she would pick up her baby, there was nothing she could think about besides the fact that her baby was not the same color as her, and how she didn't want to take care of her. This experience, and seeing that husband who was so scared for his wife and for his baby, and not knowing how to care for either of them, was the beginning of really where I realized that there was something inside me that wanted to fix this. There was something that these women needed that wasn't being cared for, and easily available. Me and all doctors have met patients in these circumstances and referred them out to psychiatrists and psychologists, and if they've had the same luck I have, they found that there wasn't availability, or there was weeks to months waiting. And these patients don't have weeks to months. They're taking care of a baby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they need help fast. And it was at this point that I started thinking, I got to figure out how I can help these patients. And it was at that time that I looked into getting a certification in postpartum care, mental health care, or what we call as perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. There's a fantastic organization called Postpartum Support International that provides courses and provides a certification. I attended the courses. It was during COVID, so it was all online. And I did 2 advanced certifications, and I took the test and I passed. Even before then, I went to a training with the psychiatry department at Harvard and Massachusetts General, and that was back in 2018, and it was absolutely incredible. It is put on by all the psychiatrists there. They have the most amazing perinatal psychiatry department there. If you are a mom and you're not going to do well in any regards during your pregnancy, that is the place you want to be. And those doctors were incredible, and they were incredibly encouraging, and they were eager to help me on this journey to bring something like this to my side of the country. And it was upon that that I started the journey, and started working with patients. And then last year in 2023, I opened Woman Made Well, which was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream to provide care for women that was different, that was deeper, where I listened to patients and um, was able to provide for them what they really needed. I do gynecology because I just can't say no to my patients that I've grown to love, and I love everything about women's health. But greater than 50% of my time is spent just with women pregnant or postpartum, dealing with the transition to motherhood, or dealing with anxiety and depression that they already have, or anxiety and depression that they get postpartum. Um, the I guess I didn't really understand what I was getting into. I didn't really. I know the incidence. I knew it was high. I knew there was a need, but I had no idea how much of a need there was, because what I found is now that all the OBGYNs in the Valley know that I'm here, they are even more eager and asking the questions, digging deeper with their patients because they have somewhere to send them. And I've never had a shortage of referrals. We're always trying to get people in as fast as we can. And my biggest problem is that I have tried to find balance in my life, which we'll talk about a ton, which means I'm only in clinic 2 days a week. So the rest of the time I can be with my family. But it has been the most amazing experience. And I think there'll be other podcasts where I talk more about that. But the women that I have had the opportunity to meet, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but they mean so much to me. It means so much to me that they trust me, and they come carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, and they're so brave and they're so strong. I have this navy blue couch in my office, and you might have seen it in my Instagram videos, but um, my mom sit on that couch, and I always say, any woman who will come and sit on this couch is an amazing mom, because a mom who will sacrifice that time, be willing to come talk to somebody they don't know about their feelings and about their weaknesses, that means she cares. And a mom who cares doesn't need to be perfect. Just the fact that she cares and that she's trying to get better means that she is an amazing mom. It is such an honor to have the position I have, and I am so impressed with the strength of these women, and I've just loved every minute of it. It's because of that I am starting this, because I think there's more women who need to know that you're not alone, that you are that there are so many women in the same situation as you, and that there are answers, there is support, there is science, there is truth, but there is also just love, and it's here. And my goal is to make sure that as many women who are seeking for it can find it. And I'm so excited to do this, and I really appreciate any and everyone's support, because this is a new adventure for me. Any ideas, any suggestions, any critiques, I'll take all of them. And thanks for being here. And I'm sure there's a ton more that I could have said about myself, my hobbies, all sorts of things, but we can get to those some other time. But that's a little bit about how I got here. And I can't wait to get to know all of you guys better, and to continue to provide, well, I guess not continue, but start to provide information that you guys find useful and hopefully life-changing. And so thanks for coming and joining me here at Woman Made Well.